Plus, to be a part of your day, Kevin Miller in the morning here at Meridian Technical Charter School. Thanks to CapEd Credit Union and Team Mazda Subaru. Kevin Miller's cash code, POOL, that's right, POOL, is today's Code 2 cash word. Listen to it this afternoon at 3:05 for me during Sean Hannity's show for code word 3. Remember, win up to $5,000. But today's word is POOL for code 2. And remember, coming up, your chance to win 2 massages from Massage Envy and a car wash from UltraTouch. When you hear me give you the cue to call, be caller 10 to win. That's just our way of thanking you for supporting Kevin Miller in the morning on KIDO Talk Radio. Thank you, Thursdays. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Wally Hedrick joining us, president of the board here at Meridian Technical Charter School. Wally, thank you for joining us, sir.
Morning, Kevin. Morning to your listeners as well.
So let's start from the very beginning, the vision that has turned into a reality here.
The late Dr. Bob Haley, who was superintendent of West Ada, which was previously the Meridian School District, came up with this conceptual idea back in the early 90s. And the legislature decided in, I believe, 98 to fund charters, public charters. And we saw an opportunity then. I was on the Meridian School Board as well. So we thought, one size doesn't fit all in education. And we had academies, we had year-round schools, we had schools that catered to certain interests. So we thought, why not have a technology school, and we'll use the charter mechanism and funding to make that a reality.
How innovative was that compared to not only what was going on in the old Meridian School District, but statewide and across the country, the push towards technology back then?
I think that in other locations it probably existed, that there was a lot of interest. In Idaho, it really hadn't taken off. And a lot of these kids are technology interested and then don't have an interest in a lot of other academic areas. So the timing was right and the opportunity was there, and I think Idaho is becoming of age to have some technology schools, and there are other schools in the state now. So it's all good.
We've talked about the teachers. We've profiled some students. What about the parents?
A lot of these parents work at HP or Micron or some of the smaller tech organizations, and some of them see an opportunity for their kids to get into a field where they know they have an interest and an attitude and an aptitude. So parents are very supportive of the school. And most of the kids want to be here. We all think back to our
right.
high school days.
Yes.
And we were hoping for a lot more snow days during the winter. But this is a school where parents and students really want to participate, and it's reflected in our graduation rate, in our test scores, and the number of kids we're sending on to higher ed, into the marketplace, or to the military. Those are the 3 things we prepare them for.
I'm amazed that you have people that start their own businesses right out of school.
Oh, it amazes me too, Kevin. I mean, some of these kids are entrepreneurs by the time they're 25. We have brought 2 students back who graduated a long time ago who now sit on the board, and it's
What's that like for you?
Well, I'm not exactly a tech guy, so
sure.
I like to listen to what these kids talk about, these young folks talk about, and how they have seized the opportunity and gone out in the world and created niche technology companies for themselves.
Right here in the Treasure Valley.
Right. And we send kids on to MIT. We send a number of kids on to the federal government, NSA, and a lot of the high-tech that we hear a lot about these days, defense systems in this country.
For people that aren't, and I'm sure everybody is, but aren't familiar with the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, how prestigious is that school?
Oh, it's phenomenally prestigious. I believe we've sent 4 or 5. They're full ride, and to get into MIT, from a little technical charter high school in Boise is quite a feat. And these kids are, you talk to them, and they may not be the most socially adapted, but they have brain power to spare.
Sure. Finally, Wally, the partnership with area businesses, big and small, we heard a little bit about that.
Right.
What's that like as far as the board and the educators getting your kids real-life experience?
I think that's one of the most critical aspects. You hear the legislature talk about accountability. Is our money being spent? Are we getting the results we want? And in the business community, you hear a lot of folks say, oh, kids aren't ready for the workforce. They don't show up on time. They don't dress properly. They don't know everything there is to know about education. So we require as seniors, our internships. They take them out in the marketplace. We have great partners. We have a waiting list for people who want some of our interns. And many of these kids then get full-time jobs afterwards. So the business community has embraced the idea kids need to learn and understand what it's like to be in the marketplace.
Wow. And you're doing it.
We are doing it, and the kids are doing it, and they do a great job. And I wish I would have had this kind of an opportunity.
Wish I would have had their drive.
Yeah.
Finally, I know you keep the school small, but because of so much interest, so many people moving in, could you see it one day expanding?
Yeah, I think we're going to be able to expand our numbers. We have a waiting list. You'd love to not have a waiting list. You'd love
Sure.
to have every kid who wanted to come to this school have a spot in the school. So the state's looking at a funding formula revision, and part of that is dictated by that, but also the small size is a reflection of what we deal with here, the technology and how complicated it is. And remember, we got to have teachers who
Sure.
understand all of this. And it's such a new and fast-growing educational environment that we have special kind of teachers that can come in here and teach the kids.
Well, congratulations to the board and the staff and the
Thank
parents and the kids. Great job, sir.
Thank you, Kevin. I appreciate it.
No,
Appreciate
thanks.
you guys coming out this morning.
Oh, thanks for having us. This is very impressive. So you have a great day, Wally.
You also.
All right, Kevin Miller in the morning here. Big day on Capitol Hill. Have you heard what happened?
I just came to the basic conclusion. I feel like our majority's in good hands. The president's given us this chance to get a lot done, which we've gotten a lot done.
Paul's a great guy, served our country for 20 years, impact on policy areas in a big way. Of course, the most recent and probably the biggest is the tax reform bill that was done last year.
With teenagers at home, I do another term, and they will really only know me as a weekend dad. You have to remember, I came to Congress before I had kids, so they've only known me as a weekend dad, and if I do another term, that's all they'll ever know me as, and that's just something I just can't do.
He has served the people of his district with great distinction. I know they're very proud of him, and I wish him and his family much success and happiness in the next chapters of their lives.
He was not like some on his side of the aisle say it's my way or no way. He was willing to meet you, to try and get something done. So I thoroughly enjoyed working with Speaker Ryan.
I'm glad we can count on his continued leadership through the rest of the year because our work together is far from finished.
And there we have it, Speaker Ryan, not running for re-election. Interesting. We'll talk a little bit about that. And take your calls at 580-5436, 580-KIDO. I do want to remind everybody, the cue to call coming up for your chance to win not one but two massages from Massage Envy and a car wash from Ultra Touch in either Boise or Meridian is coming up when I give you the cue to call and caller 10. Just our way of saying thank you Thursdays. And what a outstanding day we've had here at Meridian Technical Charter School. And we thank our friends at Grade Power, CapEd Credit Union, and Team Mazda Subaru for making that happen. Joining us now here at KIDO Talk Radio, Kelby Smith. Kelby, let's talk a little bit about home ownership and mortgages. The Treasure Valley here in Idaho, one of the hottest markets in the country. How fair is it? And good morning.
Hey, good morning. Thank you for having me on your call.
Well, good to have you here at KIDO Talk Radio. So let's talk a little bit about home ownership. At one time, it seemed like that was just a given for everybody. Are those days over?
Well, when you take a look at the values or the perceived values of homes nationwide, and you take a look at the income, and you couple that with the fact that we have the lowest rates in history, and you still can't afford a house, I am from all the indicators that we're looking at, both stock and on and off Wall Street, we're in a major bubble, and it's about to burst. As a broker here in California, I actually am advising my clients not to purchase homes right now, and I have been for the last 2 years.
Wow. You have a lot of folks from California that are selling their homes and moving to Idaho.
You know what? I'm on a stream right now. I receive homes every day in Idaho, looking at properties out there. A lot of people. Idaho's beautiful, and you can still get a beautiful house out there in the $400,000 to $500,000 range that would be a $1.5 to $2 million home here in California.
Well, Kelby, let's go in detail concerning your concern about this bubble. Why do you think that's going to happen? I'm with you. Things can't continue to go up, and up. But what are you seeing?
Well, you know what? A lot of people aren't seeing it because food stamps and the like. These different systems that are there to support people. We're having the food lines that we had in 1929. Just people don't see them because of that black card that they can go buy food on. We're having a lot of issues in this country nationwide. In California, we have the largest homeless issue. As a matter of fact, it's estimated that there's 200,000 people and or families on the streets in just Orange County, LA County alone. And that's not a small number. We've seen entire communities. But regarding your question on the bubble, we've had they developed the quantitative easing 1, 2, 3, and 4, which was basically to pump the market with what is known as fiat currency to give loans out for the purposes of keeping interest rates low. And they also play the stock markets in a certain fashion to elevate the stocks up. So we've gone from 7,000 on the stock market 8 years ago to 25,000 now. We have houses at an all-time high. We have people where they can't afford it. They can't afford their taxation. So from an overall viewpoint, you have kind of what's called a trifecta, and we've never had this in the history of the nation. It's about to burst.
So what can people listening to KIDO Talk Radio do to prepare themselves?
Remove themselves from debt as much as possible right now. Don't look at their don't go out and take more debt. Don't spend on their credit cards. If they have an opportunity to pay cash for a house and dump out of their annuities, dump out of their retirement accounts, I'm telling you right now, I've already looked into the law. They have in place, the banks do, in law, just what they did in 29, to be able to take the funds and convert you to stock ownership in the bank, which will ultimately fail. So if you have a retirement, have these different accounts, we're going to be like another Cyprus whenever this does take place, and they're going to clip the valuation on your accounts. So convert that capital, take the stock or take the tax hit, pay off your house, and get as debt free as you can.
All right, Kelby, thank you very much.
Have a good day. Thank you for having me.
All right, Kelby Smith joining us. Coming up next, your chance to win not one, but 2 massages to Massage Envy, and we'll talk a little bit about social media versus talk radio. You're listening to Kevin Miller on KIDO Talk Radio. And blessed to be part of your day, Kevin Miller in the morning here at KIDO Talk Radio. Don't forget to listen this afternoon at 3:05 for, the next cash code word to win Kevin Miller's money on KIDO Talk Radio. More details at KIDOTalkRadio.com. Why don't we give you the cue to call? Caller 10, you're going to win not one, but 2 massages from Massage Envy and that Ultra Touch car wash. They do such a great job, courtesy of Ultra Touch in Boise and Meridian. And why don't we go to Holly with Kevin Miller at KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, Holly.
Hi, Kevin. Hey, thanks for having me on. I wanted to kind of expand on what Cindy said. We have a lot of legislators who have been really supportive of our schools, and Christy Zito in District 23 has been a real champion of education. In fact, she was speaking about that last night at her forum about how we need to get more education money into the K through 12 and not quite so much of it that goes to higher education, so we have our kids prepared and having these types of technologies. She was over at the Marsing Library on Friday with the after-school program, and looking at their technology program last week, and she's been a real true voice. So if you're in District 23, anywhere between Homedale, Mountain Home, Grandview, that area, vote for her on May 15th, please.
Wow. Anything else, Holly?
Well, there's lots of other, too, but I don't want to take up too much of your time. I like Tammy Nichols with Idaho Education Watch, Zach Brooks.
Well, I wasn't asking you for your list of endorsements. But I guess
okay.
that's coming.
Well, I think that's about it. But thanks for having me on. And, yeah, they're doing a great job. And a lot of people really fighting for our kids in this state. So.
Well, that's an interesting argument, though, because, when we're talking about education, there's a teacher drain in some areas. And when you look at, where you live in Caldwell or in West Ada or wherever, there's so many people moving in, the schools are overcrowded.
And that's why we need more money into the K-12 program, and not quite so much. Some of the highest paid people in the state are college professors, but we've got to get more resources out to the teachers in the K-12. We've got to get more information for technology in the schools.
So you would be in favor. You would be in favor of not paying the professors so much money. I mean, that's a tough gig, working 3 days a week, pontificating for 40 minutes, and then
sometimes giving out their own opinions are not exactly accurate. Yes.
I mean, look, I personally, I think you have professor envy.
Well, I would have to disagree with you, but I think that's funny.
Well, I met a guy, his name is Jacob, yesterday. He's a loader at Home Depot, and he was telling me about unloading or loading people's cars with 80-pound bags of concrete. Look, I'm sure he's compensated just like the professors are.
Yeah, but I'm sure he is too.
I mean, who's doing?
We'll go run down to Home Depot and see if we can get our whatever it is per hour. But anyway,
right.
I do
who's
know that
actually
there's
working?
People in Idaho.
Right.
Yeah, and he's actually working. That's a good point. Anyway, there's a lot of money that could be better routed in education so that the kids and the teachers have the resources that they need. So,
look, I try and fit in a few good points in between your endorsements.
Thank you so much.
Holly and Caldwell, take care. Stay out of trouble.
Have a great day. Bye.
Bye-bye. That's a very good point, though, when we had Mayor Tammy on from Meridian that really urged the legislature to, give communities more money. And, the next governor is going to have to worry about that. And many people are talking about, what this person did and that person did and negative ads and such. But in reality, who's going to offer a vision? I mean, is there really a solution to funding education in Idaho? You've got the state school superintendent running for re-election saying, hey, I just got this much money, but, money doesn't solve all your problems, right? At 580-5436, 580-KIDO. I mean, if that's the case, you just wave a magic wand, but you have so many people coming in, and we've talked about impact fees. We've discussed this. There has to be some type of managed growth. And that's where our elected officials come in. Or do you just take the money and run and say, well, we're all going to be stuck in traffic and have overcrowded schools? We'll continue on with that conversation and more of your phone calls at 580-5436, 580-KIDO. And just want to remind you, not only can you win, and people are calling in right now to win those massages, but we'll have a prize pack from the Idaho Lottery coming up next half hour for your chance to win. And get this, you actually have some lottery tickets in there. So you could be a big winner just by listening to us. Our way of saying thank you very much for joining us each and every morning. We understand and appreciate that you have a lot, and I do mean a lot, of choices in the morning, and we thank you for staying with us. Met a couple guys from Bronco Motors yesterday. Really appreciate what they bring to the table as well. And even though one is a Georgia grad and a Georgia fan, seems like a nice guy to me. Let's get you to traffic and weather together at KIDO Talk. And congratulations to Donna in Meridian. Donna, you can de-stress thanks to our friends at Massage Envy. And get your car taken care of from our friends at Ultra Touch Car Wash and Gas Station, located in Meridian, right across from Kids Again on Fairview, and on West Overland, right by Walmart in Boise. Love the Ultra Touch. They do such a wonderful job. We're here at Meridian Technical Charter School, thanks to CapEd Credit Union and Team Mazda Subaru. Phone numbers here, 580-5436, 580-KIDO. And let's continue to take a look at education, whether or not money can buy you happiness. That's next. Kevin Miller, KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, Maggie. And coming up, your chance to win that prize pack from the Idaho Lottery, massages from Massage Envy, Ultra Touch Car Wash, simply by listening to Kevin Miller in the morning here. And Jared Halpern will join us coming up from Washington with the latest on Facebook. We are at Meridian Technical Charter School. Diane Despain joining us now, a parent. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Great. So when you're talking about your child going here, tell us a little bit about the experience from your perspective as a parent. Not an easy school to get into.
It is not. My oldest was able to get in through the lottery, and if you have a student attending here, currently you can get siblings in through lottery first. So luckily I had a senior and then a freshman come in. And
you planned that well. Then, right?
I did. And then I have another one. So the next group will be a senior and a freshman again.
What is the difference that you've seen in the education of your children from their experience here?
My oldest just graduated last year, and she had a difficult time in middle school, enjoying school and enjoying the academics. And when she came here, I would say she, quote unquote, found her people. She clicked well. She graduated with a 4.0 over the 4 years. Which comes from struggling from middle school. She just found something that she really, truly enjoyed.
What was that like for you as her mom to see that process unfold?
It was amazing. And to see the support from the staff and the teachers for each student was wonderful.
Now, for people that are hearing about this school for the first time, a relatively small school, can you describe the magic that goes on here?
You know, I talked to my daughter about the size of the school and about the difference it would make if a large amount of other students were allowed to come in, and she said that the small environment is kind of what makes the school. I heard Mr. Bodell talk about each of the teachers know every single student, and they kind of get to watch them grow from freshmen, kind of young teenagers to adults, and to work with them through all that. And I think the small environment allows that to happen.
Do the parents have their own kind of small environment here?
I think so. I haven't really done much with the parent-teacher. I've come and helped with some of the days here, but not very many.
When we take a look at the value of education here, what are the skills that your daughter left here with? We're hearing about Microsoft Office, web and media design, computer science, some really challenging courses that I can't even spell.
Right.
And you've got these kids that are just, it's natural for them.
She was in the engineering program and was able to have an internship with an electrical engineering firm for a couple of years, and off to college with electrical engineering. And she started off, she's doing very well. She interviews as if she were a junior in college. We've had some people talk with her about, she's very comparable to them. And I think this school has professional dress days, and they kind of walk them through how to go and approach companies, to talk with them, to how to dress. And it's made a huge improvement on how they can go and interview at companies. My husband says he still sees people go in jeans and T-shirt for a professional interview, and he says the students from the school do not. They've been taught better.
Finally, what does that do as far as your confidence in your kids' future for going here?
I think they're very well set up. My next son that's currently attending is going into the computer programming, and he's excited next year to take college-level programming courses.
Well, that sounds great. Thank you very much. Appreciate you coming in.
Thank you.
Phone numbers here, 580-5436, 580-KIDO. This is Thank You Thursdays with Kevin Miller at KIDO Talk Radio. Coming up next, Jared Halpern will join us from Washington. In addition to that, here's the latest on a popular figure with who's undergoing an unpopular trial.
Bill Cosby's retrial has been underway less than a week, and already jurors have gotten an earful from women who say the comedian drugged and sexually assaulted them decades ago. Janice Baker Kinney spent 2 hours on the witness stand yesterday and didn't hold back, saying, quote, "I was raped." She also called out Cosby lawyer Tom Mesereau for rolling his eyes at her. Another witness called Cosby a serial rapist, and the third was near tears when she asked him, quote, "You remember, don't you, Mr. Cosby?" They are among 5 additional accusers the jury will hear from before Andrea Constand testifies. Constand's accusation of a 2004 assault led to the criminal charges Cosby is being retried for. Tanya J. Powers, Fox News.
Coming up, why Bill Cosby beats the rap. And remember, caller 10, you're going to win those 2 hours of massage and the Ultra Touch car wash. Kevin Miller here. Let's go live to Capitol Hill. Jared Halpern joining us from, well, the nation's capital, from Fox News Radio, exclusively here in the Treasure Valley on KIDO Talk Radio. Jared, good morning.
Good morning to you.
All right. The Facebook Mark Zuckerberg tour continued yesterday. What's the fallout from his appearance in the Senate the day before and yesterday in the House?
Well, I think that, the question now is going to be what sort of regulation, if any, Congress wants to move forward on. It did seem clear after both days in the Senate and House that there is an appetite for some sort of regulation. And indeed, Mark Zuckerberg himself suggested that some regulation may be appropriate. The question, of course, will be, how soft a touch is that? What does that regulation look like? How do you regulate social media? How do you regulate these Internet companies? And what sort of role would Congress play in crafting those rules of the road, if you will?
Indeed, of course, it was interesting to go back and forth and hear the interaction between some folks that seemed to get social media and others that didn't. Any idea what type of proposed legislation we could come from Facebook? I know it's early.
It's not, actually. There are proposals out there. Like Senator Edward Markey from Massachusetts, a Democrat, has what he considers a privacy bill of rights. It would essentially require, these social media platforms to require opt-in rather than opt-out when it comes to what information third parties can have access to. So essentially you would have to consent to information being used instead of the other way around. That may be a tough sell. There are others that are more limited in scope to, protecting the privacy of younger people on Facebook. Facebook doesn't allow users to be less than, I think Mark Zuckerberg said 14 years old, but that's still not 18 years old, right? And so there's going to be, so there was some discussion about that. There was some discussion, too, about whether or not Facebook and other social media companies should be regulated as far as the work that they're doing in trying to have control over content. Particularly conservative lawmakers believe that Facebook and other social media companies are slanted toward more liberal points of view. That was a charge that Mark Zuckerberg denied. But at the same time, there is work being done at Facebook and other companies to try and root out, hate speech, terrorism, calls for violence, things that are pretty unanimously viewed as offensive and not appropriate for social media. But how do you define that? Zuckerberg had a hard time at one point answering a question about how he defines hate speech. Where do you, it's sort of like, what's the old Supreme Court justice who said he can't define pornography, but he knows it when he sees it, right? These are hard questions to answer, particularly when you have algorithms and artificial intelligence doing a lot of the work on sort of flagging this content.
Jared, we've only got you for about 30 seconds left. Paul Ryan leaving, how big is that, and who replaces him?
Well, it's a big deal. I don't think immediately anybody replaces him. There's not a suggestion yet that he's going to, not serve out the remainder of his term. And so who becomes Speaker of the House? That would have been a question whether Paul Ryan retired or not, because we don't know which party is going to be in control of the House. And it's incredibly likely that there was going to be a change in leadership anyway. So I think that's going to be what we see moving forward, is whether or not Republicans are comfortable with sort of this lame duck speaker. So far, it seems that they don't want to rock the boat too much before the November elections. But listen, it was surprising. There had been sort of rumors and rumblings about it for weeks, and they were always sort of poo-pooed away. There are always rumors until they're not here on Capitol Hill is sort of the lesson I've learned over the last several years covering this beat.
Jared, we appreciate you. Thank you.
Sure thing. Take care.
Jared Alper joining us live from Capitol Hill. And again, the only program in the Treasure Valley that takes you to Capitol Hill, to the White House, to New York, to London. We do our very best not to be braggadocious, just to let you know we want to earn your listenership each and every day, whether we're at Meridian Technical Charter School, whether we're at Miller's Mission. We're doing our very best, again, to give you an opportunity to get the information and to talk about it. Also do want to remind you, coming up, the cue to call to win those massages. So we go live from Capitol Hill to the KIDO Talk Radio broadcast studio. Our friends Aaron and Rob joining us for their weekly segment from Team Mazda Subaru. Gentlemen, good morning.
Good morning. We're live from the Rob and Aaron studio. I'm sitting in your chair.
580 KIDO studio.
Oh, okay, let's not have tune out. Let's just kind of, you guys always get out of hand when I'm not there to guide you through this. So when we take a look at some of the big issues, obviously Facebook, you use Facebook to get the word out about Team Mazda Subaru, and then all of a sudden people seem to look at Facebook as a utility. And I'm wondering if you guys look at it like the sewer bill or the electric bill. See, that's how I view a utility. I don't really know if social media is the same thing.
Go ahead, Rob.
It certainly is complex. I was watching a little bit of it yesterday and the day before, and it seems to me we've gotten to a place where it's so important to so many people. I see him up there talking about his company, and to me he's still a small time guy, but boy, things have changed now that social media is so important to so many people.
Aaron?
Well, I from the business side of it, it allows us to talk to a lot of people very fast, very easily. It's seamless, but it's one of those things that we do use, but we don't put a lot of time into it. We have people who do that for us. On a personal level, I don't use it.
Yeah, Aaron and I have decided that it's such a time waster. We can better serve people by not being on Facebook.
Yeah, I just don't do it.
But you have some people. You see, again, like I said, when I think of a utility, it's something you can't live without, like electricity or gas. And you have some people, again, they view Facebook as like, well, it has to be regulated by the government. I mean, you're free market guys. It just seems kind of silly that something that's a luxury, as you guys have just told us, people view as a necessity.
Yeah, I think a lot of people live their life through it, whether they're taking a picture of their dinner or look where I'm at this week or how great my life is, and it's how they project themselves to the world, and it really means a lot to them.
Yeah, we've talked about that a lot, where they're using it now as their portal to the world, and people don't sit at the dinner table anymore, and they don't gather. They sit with their little device by themselves and look at what other people are doing and post things that they're doing, and it certainly is a game changer.
See, in my day, it was imaginary friends.
Yeah, that's what it is. It's exactly what it is. That person liked me. I mean, they get all, butt hurt, for lack of a better term, that, oh, you unfriended me, or, and it's just funny to watch these people lose their minds over something, a comment or an unfriend or an unlike, or didn't like my post today. It's insane.
All right. Are you guys ready for some outrageous stories?
All right, let's do it. Outrageous stories. 580 in the 580 KIDI studio.
Fair enough. Here we go. This is the case involving exploding lasagna in Illinois. Let's take a listen.
It's kind of like the infamous McDonald's hot coffee lawsuit, when a woman sued the hamburger giant after she spilled it on her lap and burned her legs. This time the lawsuit is over lasagna that was too hot. The plaintiff claims her lasagna exploded when she sunk her fork into it during a meal in December. causing the piping hot marinara sauce to splatter and burn her hand.
Ouch.
And now she's suing the Osteria Animo Ristorante in suburban Chicago for $50,000 in damages, including mental anguish. No comment from the restaurant. Tom Rigotti, Fox News.
You guys ever had exploding lasagna?
Not yet. Not yet.
Not on the way in. Exploding lasagna. Kind of silly, isn't it?
Well, you think about this, and this goes to that whole McDonald's lawsuit. You spill the coffee and then you sue McDonald's because it's too hot. You just wonder, where's the responsibility? Like I said, I'm sorry that the lady burned her hand, but, do we have to take everything to court? Is Judge Judy going to be the next decider of everything?
Wow. Yeah, I just for me, personal experience, I always check everything, just kind of do a little thing. You can see if it's that hot. It's probably got a little steam coming off of it. Buyer beware. I don't know.
Buyer beware. Yeah,
right.
So Aaron and I showed up this morning, and first thing Aaron did was get a little coffee here in your studio. Be careful, Aaron. Don't spill it on yourself. Kevin could owe us big.
Yes, Kevin owes you big anyway.
That's the truth.
Finally, Clothes for Kids is the campaign for Miller's Mission. That'll be coming up the week before Memorial Day. We always want to thank you all for not only giving us great deals on cars, pre-owned and new, and Mazdas and Subarus, but your commitment to the community. So we're asking Clothes for Kids, also Cash for Kids, and that'll be coming up. We're very excited once again to be at the Walmart at Garrity and Franklin in Nampa.
That's excellent. Yeah, that's right up our alley because that's usually what we do. Everybody brings turkeys and we go and get clothes and T-shirts and socks and underwear and things that Reverend Bill says he needs. That's excellent.
Well, we appreciate that. Lots of great deals this weekend at Team Mazda Subaru. Aaron and Rob and Aaron, I miss you guys and look forward to seeing you next week.
It's a little weird not having you here.
Yes, it's a little weird not seeing both of you.
Your chair's a lot more comfortable than all the other ones in here. It's kind of nice.
Yes, well, thank you very much. I appreciate you, gentlemen. You're listening to Kevin Miller on KIDO Talk Radio. And don't forget, your cue to call is now. Caller 10 wins the Massage Envy package. That's two massages from Massage Envy and the car wash courtesy of Ultra Touch Car Wash, conveniently located in Boise and Meridian. And because we're rolling and because I let the hour get away from me, caller 15. So caller 10 wins that. Caller 15 wins the prize pack courtesy of the Idaho Lottery, including some lottery tickets. So it really pays to listen to Kevin Miller in the morning here at KIDO Talk Radio. Do want to thank everybody here at Meridian Technical Charter School. Outstanding day today. Wonderful event. And thanks to CapEd Credit Union, Team Mazda Subaru, and Grade Power Learning for sponsoring Promote Our Schools, Secure Our Future Tomorrow. We're back at the Broadcast Center. Thanks to Ray Amaya at the Broadcast Center. George here on location. Rance for being our researcher. God bless you and your family, and keep the faith.